As a product manager looking for your next role, you've probably submitted dozens of applications online, maybe hundreds. You've read all the advice, you've tweaked your CV, you've tried different strategies, and still nothing. No callbacks, no interviews, just silence. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And the problem probably isn't your experience. It's that you're wasting time on things that don't actually work. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 4 things that are killing your applications so you can stop wasting time on them and start getting more interviews. Hi, I'm James Ganaka. As a product management career coach, I've helped hundreds of product managers land interviews and roles around the world faster and with more money. My full-time job is working with product managers, and I regularly conduct research on the job market by pulling data, running polls, and sharing results online and in publications like Mind the Product. And what I've learned is this: too many people are suffering in their job searches from the bad advice shared by people who aren't in it day in and day out. So let's break down what the problems are and why your application strategy needs to change. The first thing that doesn't work are cover letters and portfolios. I ran a poll on LinkedIn and got responses from over 100 hiring managers and recruiters for PM roles. 78% said they only look at cover letters for 0 to 2% of applications. Over half never read them at all. So if you're spending hours writing personalized cover letters for every job, stop. It's not moving the needle. Darren, a client of mine, built his own custom GPT to generate cover letters. He took dozens of pages of his writing, gave examples of cover letters he'd written, and even provided custom instructions based on a job listing and other data. He thought he'd cracked the code. He was pumping out tailored cover letters for every single application. Still needed to spend some time refining what the GPT gave him, but it was at least saving him some time when compared to writing them out in full. Now, he thought this was a strong differentiator, and it was impressive to see. But then I asked how he knew whether it was making a difference in his application conversion rate. Turns out, it made 0 difference. He was spending all this time and energy on something recruiters and hiring managers weren't even reading. He ran an experiment with his next 50 applications and found it made no meaningful difference to his application conversion rate. And guess what? Same goes for website portfolios and slide decks. Another client of mine was creating these beautifully designed slide decks to accompany every application. Hours of work put into this portfolio. Even watched some videos and listened to some influencers about why these were so important for product managers. They would tailor some of the content, making it look more polished. And after months of doing this before we started working together, his application conversion rate was still sitting at less than 1%. Not only was he not seeing any improvement in that conversion rate, he was wasting time optimizing the wrong thing. It's not that his portfolio was bad. It's that the hiring managers and recruiters just weren't looking at it. I told him to stop submitting the portfolios, and we instead focused on improving his CV and applying for jobs he was a great fit for. And we grew his application conversion rate to over 10% in just a couple of weeks. Now, portfolios are great for designers and an industry practice. GitHubs are great for engineers, also an industry practice. But you're a product manager, not a designer and not an engineer. So unless the job description explicitly asks for those artifacts, don't waste your time on them. There may be some value in building a portfolio, but if your goal is just to get more interviews, it's not going to add value there. I keep asking for data to prove me wrong, and no one has been able to give it. If you find it, leave it in a comment below. All right, the second thing that doesn't work are long resumes. I've seen 15-page resumes, I've seen 5-page resumes, and they don't work. A client of mine, Sam, came to me looking to level up, moved from a head of product to a director or VP, and shared a 5-page CV with me. He had years of experience across product and leadership roles, and he wanted to show all of it. The problem was, recruiters weren't getting to the good stuff. Page 1 had this 3-paragraph narrative, a key skills section that was just a comma-separated list of words without any substantiation, and then his educational background. Nothing on page 1 about where he worked or what jobs he had held. It wasn't until halfway onto page 2 that we got into the work experience, which then continued on for the next 3.5 pages. His customers were likely overwhelmed with the level of detail before they could see the impact. We reworked his CV together, cut it down, led with outcomes, made it scannable, and he started getting interviews for the leadership positions he was actually targeting. If your CV is more than 2 pages, you're sending the wrong signal. Recruiters and hiring managers don't have time to read it all. Keep it to 1 to 2 pages max. If you've been working for 10 plus years, 2 pages is fine, but anything beyond that, and you're only showing that you don't know how to be concise and show the right information, which is critical for a product manager to do. Plus, you're losing people's attention. That friction means you're getting less interviews. The third thing that I've repeatedly seen that doesn't work are AI matching scores. Now, there are a lot of tools out there that promise to optimize your CV for ATS systems by giving you a match score. Here's the problem though. They're doing keyword matching to a job listing. But that's not how recruiters and hiring managers read CVs. I worked with a client who was getting a 90% match score, still had 50 applications, 0 interviews. Why? because he was optimizing for the wrong thing. When a job description talks about wanting someone who's a dynamic product manager, a team player, exhibits high agency and ownership, and you turn around and use those words to describe yourself, it gives a great match score. But guess what? A recruiter reads that non-differentiating fluff and misses out on what really matters, the impact that you've made as a PM. So if you're going to do any kind of matching, make sure your impact bullets connect to the type of outcomes the job description mentions. If they're talking about running experiments, make sure you talk about when you did that. If they're talking about product vision, make sure you talk about when you developed one and got buy-in from the executive team. And the fourth thing that doesn't work are those skills sections. You know, that table of keywords at the bottom of your CV, or the one that just lists things like road mapping, Jira, SQL, A/B testing, that people online keep telling you to do as if it's some hack to beat the ATS. That's not a real thing, by the way. Get rid of it. It's not adding value. I've seen dozens of top performing CVs that convert at 10, 20, even 30%, and none of them have these skills section. This isn't the internet of 2001 where you can game an algorithm by keyword stuffing or changing the text to white on a white background. This is probably the biggest piece of misinformation I've come across with nearly everyone I talk to. Bite the bullet and get rid of that section. Here's what works instead. Take those keywords and weave them into your impact bullets. Don't just say A/B testing in a table. Say increase conversion by 18% in 6 weeks by running 12 A/B experiments. Check the description for a link to my free resume template that you can use. Hundreds of PMs have already and landed interviews for L6 plus PM positions at companies like Google and more. And hey, if you're finding this helpful, go ahead and like this video and consider subscribing so that I can help you land your next PM role faster and with more money. Let me share a few quick client stories so you can see how this actually works in practice. Simon came to me after 9 years at the same company. He'd been struggling to land interviews. We worked together on his application strategy, which included tailoring his CV using the X by Y by Z framework, and within 3 months, he got into 8 different interview processes and converted 2 of those into offers. He's now a group PM here in the UK. Another client of mine, Luke, applied what I covered in this video, landed an interview at Apple. We then worked together on his presentation, which included talking about his favorite Apple product and how he'd build a hypothetical product from Star Trek. He got the job and he's been working there for most of this year and really loving the shift from his previous feature factory job to one of the most successful companies in the world. And then finally, Alexi. She's a founder turned PM who is spending about an hour on each application. That's crazy and just doesn't scale. We worked together to fix that. And now she's focusing on the next step, interviewing. She went from spending 100 hours on applications with 0 interviews to spending a fraction of that time and landing first round calls more predictably than before. So those are the 4 things that don't work, which you can stop doing and get rid of. Cover letters and portfolios, long resumes, matching scores, and that skills section. Once you've stopped wasting time there, you'll need to know more about what actually works to get more interviews. So watch this next video to learn about the changes you need to make today to stop wasting time so you can land more interviews and get on with your next job. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.